Welcome, everyone. This is a new edition of Something to Talk About. And what you're seeing on the screen is me minus Vaughn. Vaughn is away taking care of some family business. And unfortunately, Mark Warner from KVGI Media, who is usually producing the program from Northern Michigan, is sitting in the dark right now because they had a power outage up in Northern Michigan due to a storm last night, and they are without power. And he's just sitting in the dark, waiting for the lights to go back on. So we wish you the very, very best, Mark. Hope that everything comes through okay, and the storms pass by, and you'll be back to having the air conditioning on up in Northern Michigan. But again, I welcome you to the show. It's a good open conversation. And I'm absolutely thrilled today because not only the guest on the program with me today is going to join us, our good friend Irving Chung is with us. And not only is Irving here to discuss a little bit about who Irving Chung is and what Irving Chung does for a career, but I'm really proud to say that Irving Chung is a franchise consultant, and he is also a sponsor of this program. And I'm absolutely thrilled for your sponsorship and all, and the ability to share what you do with our audience and tell them to reach out to you, because franchising is something that a lot of people just say, oh, yeah, that's okay for other people, but not for me. I better keep my money in the bank. That may not necessarily be a profitable choice. And you and what you do can change people. And that's why you have become a sponsor of our program, is to let them know that, you know what, it may not be right for everybody, but it just might be right for you who are listening and watching this show. So Irving, thank you for joining me today in this discussion, because you said that franchising has been around for a while, but there's a lot of hot new things that are happening in the world of franchising.
You're right, Stuart. It's so great to be on your show. So thank you so much. Yeah, franchising has changed so much. I mean, what most people still think about is McDonald's back in 1963 when they were founded. I mean, that was kind of the grandfather of franchising, and
Right.
most people think fast food. And let me tell you, we're in 2021, and it is a completely different industry. Gotten a lot more sophisticated, a lot more affordable, a lot more profitable. And just the amazing thing is just a lot more variety of businesses out there, truly for people to not only make a lot of money, right? So again, we're all in it to make a living, make money, but it's an opportunity to also realize your passion. And what I see and talk to so many people these days is like, I'm sick of corporate, I'm sick of working for somebody, and it become drones. You know, I talked to a guy who's making a great six-figure salary. He's a vice president. He goes, yeah, my job's not at risk, but I'm bored to death. He goes, I can keep doing what I do. I do what I do in my sleep. I mean, that's not challenging. That's not fulfilling, right? So beyond just making lots of money, now this guy's just signed for 3 territories. He makes 150 right now. In 5 years, he's projected to make 450. And in no corporate job can you make that kind of money. You'll make 3 to 5% raises. But yeah, so today I want to talk about 3 interesting businesses, mostly businesses that people probably never even thought were businesses. Some of them maybe not so surprising, but I'll start with something called Pet Evolution. Pet Evolution is the Whole Foods of pet food. So the crazy thing is pet care pet care, pet expenses, pet industry. It's $100 billion industry.
By 100 billion?
By 2030, it's going to be a $250 billion industry. And you know what? The COVID thing was a boom for pets. I mean, pets never had more attention. They never had their owners sitting with them, giving them treats, walking them every day, right? But it also is a huge boom in adoption. It's pet ownership has just taken off. I mean, here we're in Texas, right? And I haven't met a family that doesn't have a dog. In fact, most families have 2 dogs, like I do, right? And it's the trend. There's a survey done amongst the younger generation between 18 and 35. 65% are projected to own pets or have pets, should I say.
Right.
So it's the majority of, and they also spend a lot on their pets. They pamper them, they baby them. So the pet industry tends to lag a little bit about the human industry. And so humans, we start focusing on healthier eating, right, over the last decade. Now that's going to transfer over to pets. There's going to be an awareness now that my dog needs to eat healthy. They need non-processed foods that are highly, like some import. I mean, I hear horror stories about dogs eating bad food from China and dying. And I'm like, what? It's crazy. So now this pet shop is called a pet business called Pet Evolution. They do like the Whole Foods, like really good quality dog food. They provide like nutrition assistance and guidance, much more in depthly than like the big box stores, right? Big box stores will sell you whatever you got on the shelf, and they got everything, right? From the junky stuff to the healthy stuff to whatever. And they don't sell junky stuff in this shop, right? But it's a multi-revenue stream business. They do pet grooming, they do mobile nail grooming and trimming. They have a membership program that increases monthly recurring revenue.
Really?
Yeah. So I have dogs, and I would love to find. I mean, it's hard to find good groomers, but then to have, I mean, you bring them all the time. So it's a membership program where you get a discounted rate, and you get a free doggy toy, and you get, I mean, it's just a great kind of community-based type of concept.
Like a spa for your pets.
Exactly. So that's one of my favorite businesses these days, and it's going to just take off.
Now, is this a brand new, I mean, we've had Petco and PetSmart and all of these other, which I think are those all corporate owned, or are those also franchises?
Those are all corporate owned, large, big box stores.
Okay.
Right? So, it's like, yeah, it's like going to a boutique versus a big box gym. You know what I mean? Full cycle, get a great experience, or you can go to Gold's Gym and just come on in and help yourself kind of thing. So it's a very different environment, much more care for the pet. Like I've heard nightmare stories about grooming and Petco and all that stuff. But, in some of these boutiques, there's a lot more care given to your family member.
Yeah, well, and what you say is very interesting, because I remember growing up, when you went to the grocery store, there was maybe a half an aisle of pet foods.
Right.
And usually that aisle was shared with the hardware items too.
Exactly.
Now you go into the grocery store and there's like 2.5 or 3 aisles of pet foods. And there's everything from just basic kibbles to, all of the non-GMO and organic and all this kind of stuff. I have a dog that has allergies and has to have a special pet food.
Exactly.
And honestly, if it weren't for a very well, educated vet that we went to, we probably wouldn't have known why she was scratching constantly and was sneezing all the time. And it's been adjusted by her food. And now what you're saying is now you're getting these boutique type franchises that will allow people to interact with somebody who really knows about the products that are in the bags and cans.
Exactly. And it's a proprietary line of product that they carry. They're educated on it. It's refined to be some of the healthiest foods you can get. And so now, going to a vet's the other best place to go, because they really understand nutrition, and particularly with something like your dog where there's a particular need. But we're finding that your average dog really needs to have healthier diet and healthier.
So for people that are passionate about their pets and all, this is a franchise opportunity that has this just started over the last few years.
Yeah, it's a relatively new concept. I mean, they've been around since 2012. It was founded in 2012, so it's relatively new to franchising. So the way most businesses work is businesses are founded as original concepts,
right?
And then once they develop and they're proven, one way to expand is to franchise. And so most franchises are not like brand new just out the gate. Most are new to franchising, they're not new businesses. So does that, yeah.
Well, for those that are watching and listening to the program, I mean, this is where most franchises have started. If you look at a lot of your sandwich shops, they were one or two locations in a town someplace in America, and they built up to 4 or 5 locations, and they decided to go into franchising. And places like Subway and Jersey Mike's and all of those have just exploded over the years. The idea of what Irving does is the fact that you don't want to go out and try and invest in a McDonald's franchise or a Chick-fil-A franchise unless you have got tons of money.
Yeah, it's about $1 million to
Yeah,
buy.
so but what you need is, if you've got this passion to be your own boss and to run your own franchised business and everything, you want to get in on the ground floor too.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So that's the opportunity here. I have 2 more concepts I want to share with you. One of them is called No H2O. It's a waterless car wash. Now, here's the thing.
What?
Yes. Now, like car washes, I mean, all of us have filthy cars, and we probably run our cars through the car wash, every other week, and, you pay 15, 20 bucks, whatever. A bunch of guys swarm on you with towels and they dry it off and you take off. Well, it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars to build a car wash. And then you have about 20, 25 employees. It's a very high cost, low margin business. Now, again, the frequency is where you make the money. This is a waterless car wash that comes to you. It's the Uber of car wash. It's designed for busy people.
Wow.
Basically, it's a proprietary product that was engineered in Ireland by a race car driver who went from racing cars to washing cars. And it's a formula you spray in a car, and it forms a negative positive charge with a microfiber fabric that lifts the dirt off. You wipe the dirt clean, no scratch, high polish, and it's a fairly quick wash, but you can do a full detail. You can do exterior, interior, windows, everything. And basically you order the car wash, you send them to the address you want to go. So if you're at work and you want your car washed while you're working, boom, you set an appointment. If you want it at home, wherever you are, you send the car wash, they come over, clean your car. So very simple, single employee per account. Let's say you can have multiple people going around, right? Not highly skilled labor. So again, it's not like you have to hire somebody who's licensed and has, years of training, right? They just have to know how to wax on, wax off. Now, the other beautiful thing about this concept is in states like Arizona, California, Nevada, where you have water shortages, right? I mean, there's huge taxes and fines for car washes that aren't being energy efficient. In fact, they're making it difficult for them to even open. So now you have, businesses that will be environmentally friendly, and every state in America is going to be water scarce soon, right?
Sure.
We're having a water crisis. So not only is it easy to deliver and convenient to deliver, it's better for the environment. I mean, and there's no waste. It's not like you're spraying down and putting all this stuff into the sewers either. It's a rag, your proprietary cloth formula, spray, boom, very simple, fantastic polish, fantastic clean. And the best part of this model is you can actually put up pop-up car wash centers. So think about it: corporate offices, malls, shopping centers,
schools,
apartment complexes. So the first one here in Dallas, the first franchisee in Dallas, he has a pop-up in Legacy West and shops at Legacy. What a genius place. Think about it. Legacy West has all those corporate headquarters, Boeing, Liberty Tax, the apartment complexes above, and all these shops. I think there's 3 pop-ups there. And all you do is you set up a little pop-up tent. You can wash 10, 15 cars. And as they come in, boom, you just stay there all day. And now all of a sudden you go shopping, you go to have dinner, you go to work, you go to your apartment, wake up in the morning, boom, you got this nice shiny car sitting there waiting for you.
It is a great concept, because you think of you have just reduced the overhead cost of running that operation to a small fraction. I mean, when you just stop and think the cost of the water bill that a car wash would sustain.
Exactly.
But the idea, like you said, of somebody going to work with a dirty car and driving home with a clean car, instead of having to sit in line at the car wash,
Yep.
waiting to go through and getting it detailed. And now, is this also a new franchise and a new concept?
Now, again, it was born in Ireland, so it's not a new business. The business is proven, been around for years. It's just coming to the US. So the beautiful thing about this is, again, you can get in on the ground floor, be the first one in this country to have it. Proven model, so it's not like you're taking risks from the standpoint of I'll be the first one. It's proven with many stores or businesses operating in Ireland. So that very unique opportunity. And again, that's something unique that I bring to the picture, that, we're bringing franchises from around the world and, sharing them with the US and growing the US.
It's fascinating because, again, I think your mind starts to think about opening up an existing franchise, and usually the more franchises that there are within a corporation, the price of getting involved in it starts to go up. And then
that's not necessarily the truth. Now, the thing is scarcity. Like, for example, like the problem we run in Dallas is very entrepreneur minded. And if you don't have an emerging brand, you're not going to get into business. Like, literally, this car wash business, by the end of this year, is probably going to be sold out of Dallas.
Really?
Yeah. And then once you sell out, you can't get in until you buy a new one. Now, when you say it's expensive, yes, resales, you're paying a little bit more, right? So I own a cycle bar. When I opened 5 years ago, there were 3 cycle bars. Now there's 15 in DFW.
Right.
Right? So if someone wants to open one in Dallas, they got to buy it from me. They can't buy it from corporate, right? It has to be a resale. So yeah, that's going to cost you a premium.
I think I mentioned to you when you were on the show a while back. I have a cousin that graduated from college in the 60s, the mid 60s, and he had heard about this roast beef sandwich place called Arby's. And he went to, at that time, the corporate headquarters was in Chicago, where he was from. And he and a friend decided to go into an Arby's franchise in Illinois. He liked it so much, but he wanted to leave Chicago and go someplace warm. He went to Las Vegas and he opened up an Arby's franchise in Las Vegas. And about a year later, he said, you know what, I kind of like this. And found out there were no other franchisees in the state of Nevada. So he bought the franchise for the state of Nevada and built it up to 23 restaurants in the state of Nevada. And but again, he was on the ground floor. Arby's, everything was burgers and fried chicken back in the 60s. And all of a sudden somebody says, to heck with the burgers and stuff, we're going to open up a roast beef sandwich company.
I love that. See, and that's the thing. Okay, so a big question I get is, hey, if franchising is so great, why doesn't everyone do it? Because most people aren't brave enough or crave enough to do it. You gotta have some courage. Most people are like, hey, I'm just going to go and take a job and be paid by, get a paycheck. Well, yeah, I mean, if you're risk averse, if you're not brave, if you don't believe in yourself, you're never going to make anything,
and watch the owners and the CEOs go out on the fancy vacations and out on their yachts and all, because they had the vision to become an integral part of that corporation.
You're not a fear of failure, right? Fear of failure is the number one hindrance to, development, self-development, economic development, all that stuff. Now,
a franchise, like anything else, is a risk. You're taking a little bit of a risk. You always want to make sure that if you're going to have a brick and mortar franchise, that you're in a good location.
Exactly.
But franchising doesn't necessarily have to be brick and mortar. As you mentioned before, pest control. You don't need to have a location for pest control. You work out of a vehicle. And you also don't have to give up your 9-to-5 job to do it. You get that vehicle and you hire somebody that goes out and does it, and you spend your time just making appointments to have it done.
100%. This no H2O business is exactly that. It's a home-based business, right? You don't need an office, right? They're mobile stores, or they're, your technicians driving their own car to wash somebody else's car. It's a, just a small bundle of cleaning product that they fit right in their trunk. Little caddy pulls it out, boom. So it's not equipment intensive. It's home based. And again, owners of franchises, let me tell you this, let you know this, are not technicians, right? This is, you're expected to be a president / CEO. So Pet Evolution, I don't expect you to be clipping dog hair and selling, dog food. You need to hire managers to do that, right? So what that allows you to do is grow. Think about the no H2O business, right? They're not cleaning cars because you're back to your salary dilemma. I
Right.
own 40 hours, in a week. That's my salary's capped, right? I wish I can clone myself to have 80, 100. Well, owning a franchise, you're cloning your revenue stream. Each technician that's washing a car will probably net you 100 grand in revenue by the end of the year. So that one guy has too many appointments, you hire another one. It's another 100 grand, right? Too many appointments, boom, you hire a third, right? So as the CEO, you're never restricted by your 40 hours because your earning potential is only restricted by the number of employees you have working for you. That's the genius of it. And it's a different mindset. Some people will never get beyond being a technician. If you can progress from being a technician to a CEO, then boom, your earning potential is going to be unlimited. All right. Do we have time for one more?
Sure, absolutely.
All right. Well, the third one I have is also brand new. It's the first mental health franchise. First mental health franchise. If you think about mental health, it's like a tried and true, almost like a car wash, right? Car washes have been around for centuries, right? And you think about that big building where you drive through, and in the old days, it was all by hand. Now it's by machine with hand drying, right? So there's been evolution there, but not dramatic. Psychotherapy, same thing. Usually it's the one person, clinician, and, your doctor says, oh, I have a referral for you. And you go and you meet with them, and it's just this face-to-face consult. It hasn't evolved in centuries, right? You come in, make an appointment, you sit down, you have your session. I'll see you in a week, or I'll see you in a month. Boom. And usually it's like either you take it or leave it, right? You go and your doctor's like, oh, I have Dr. Sachs for you to go visit. You go visit them. Do you have a choice, right? If I want to talk to a female, well, Dr. Sachs is a male. If I want someone who's a little bit younger, relating to my age, and you're a little bit older. Well, the model here, LE Mental Health is what it's called, has embraced the virtual consultation. Part of it was, of course, proven by the pandemic, right? So now it's not just face to face. Now you can go virtual. Now this clinic's model is to have multiple clinicians in one practice. And the idea is to have diversity in your clinicians, age diversity, gender diversity. And there's a app. So it's technology driven. So it allows you to enter your personality as a client, express some preferences. And maybe I'm a female, want to talk to females. Maybe I'm a female, I want to talk to a male. Maybe I'm someone who's in my 20s and wants to talk to one who's a peer who's closer to my age, someone who's not 60 or 50, but maybe someone who's 30, right? So now it's almost like a matchmaking type app to also express other preferences, to allow you to have a better relationship just from the get-go, even from the matching standpoint, versus saying, okay, you have a single doctor. Okay, the doctor can see you now. That's it. It's not like I had a choice or any preference. Yeah, of course, if I have one consultation and we don't get along, I'll go find another one. But, to have to shop around for different, therapists, I can come to one practice and have a variety of clinicians. So this is almost an absentee business. The reason why it's absentee business is because you need to be a licensed clinician. And what you do is you start by hiring a senior clinician who's your general manager, and they're responsible for hiring other clinicians. And again, the idea of having diversity, hiring in everything from, younger to older clinicians, and they manage the business and practice for you.
Is this also a franchise that you have to go to them, or that you have the option of that clinician coming to you?
Yeah, the beauty of this is both, right? So it's a brick and mortar, so it is a little bit more expensive because yes, you do want to have a building and a location, a place to, have a consult. But the beauty of this concept is expanded to virtual and an embrace of technology. There's many firsts of its kind. It's kind of like bringing, wellness into the 21st century because it's not just about psychotherapy either. This practice is about having a more integrated wellness approach and focusing on mental, spiritual, wellness and healing. So,
Yeah, and interesting because you mentioned about the pandemic, but also we have seen that in issues related to the pandemic too, in some instances where there have been the Black Lives Matter movement, the first responders movement, issues with police, very often that there has been talk about the fact that the mental aspect is key to it, that this could be a great avenue to prevent some of these things from happening on our streets because people have the opportunity to overcome the any mental deficiencies that they might have or to seek that out.
yeah, there are a couple of things about this business that are great, right? It's not just insurance based. So they actually have an, income based sliding scale for non-insured
Oh, okay.
clients. They have, like I said, a full integrated wellness approach that includes mind, body, and spirit. If you think about it, a lot of your mental health could be related to your nutrition and having poor nutrition or having poor sleep or, things like that. So it really is much more inclusive and of your whole mind body approach. But the other thing you bring up that's really interesting is the pandemic has spiked in the rise in depression. I mean,
Sure.
my son, who I thought was a resilient young man, had reemergence anxiety. Literally, he was in his apartment for a full year doing online school. All he had to was exposed to was he and his roommate for a full year. It's like being in solitary confinement. I didn't think about it until he, came home from college and he expressed anxiety. He said he was getting upset stomachs. He was trembling, being in crowds in a restaurant. And I thought, I was delighted. I couldn't wait to get to a restaurant, right? But it's not, not for everybody. And it kind of woke me up to the realities of, wow, this pandemic is more than just a physical health crisis. If you have it, it's a mental health crisis. Youth depression, youth suicide went up. I mean, it is a frightening situation we're dealing with, and we just need more care and more access to care and more modern care.
Well, and now we've gone through the summer where it looked like things were starting to open up again, concerts, sporting events, restaurants. Now we've got a new variant, and
Yeah,
now everybody is starting to say, you know what, this could drive us back into our homes
yeah.
and back into that tense, situation again. So something like this is great. You mentioned three great franchises dealing with mental health, dealing with waterless car washes, dealing with new avenues in pet care. So, if somebody wants to go into franchising, one of the things is that the franchisor, the person that was on the ground floor that developed this, has come up with a system.
Yes.
And what you're buying into is not only the ability to do this, but to have the marketing background of the people that started this to help you establish it. Is that correct? So that's one of the big perks.
Say the number one reason why franchising is a great career alternative is this. One is I just mentioned three categories completely unrelated and diverse.
Absolutely.
You can be a plumber, you could be a accountant, you can be a doctor and get into any of these three. Most franchisors do not want you to have a background in their business whatsoever. The beauty of it, they will train you, they will teach you, And the reason why is they don't want someone who's been trained in a different system or model. They
Right.
want, so the beauty of a franchise is it's like paint by numbers. I want to teach you our way because our way is proven to be profitable. Our way is proven to generate great revenue, right? If you have someone trying to change the system, that's counterproductive. And most people come in from the outside world saying, hey, I know nothing about pets. I know nothing about car washing. I know nothing about mental care, healthcare, teach me. That's the best franchisee. Now,
Right.
not only that is, you're right. They provide the marketing support, the operation support, the training, the HR support. How do I hire a clinician? Boom, they got the playbook on that. They have the resources for that. What's the best employee to hire for the car wash? Boom, they got the playbook. How much should I be paying them? Playbook for it. Boom. There is any question you have about running this business, they address, not only in the beginning of the training, all the way through the launch, all the way through your relationship. Most franchises are a 10-year business. I've been in business now for 5 years with my franchise. I mean, I can call the president, and have a one-on-one conversation if I want to talk to him about an issue.
You have that ongoing support.
Absolutely. If I have a sales issue, I have a new manager coming on, I'm going to get training for them from the sales department.
I like your reference to what we said earlier, that this is a paint by number kind of a situation, that it's the canvas is laid out and they tell you where to put A, B, C, D, and E in order to get going.
Well, all you need is a desire to succeed, right?
Yeah. And I think back many years where somebody had an idea to open up a pet shop and everything. You had to go out and find a location. You had to get the build out. You had to get the product. You had to have the logistics for everything. And all of that is money. Where somebody comes in and says, here, this is a guidebook of how to do it, and you'll be saving money in the long run.
So not only is it money. So like when you start as a business owner, right, and you have an idea, you want to start something, you got to figure out how to do it, and then you got to do it.
Right.
I mean, that takes time and mental capacity. Now, if I take the how to do it away from you and I do it for you and I show you how to do it, all you got to do is put 100% of your effort to doing it. Now that's where you're making the money, right? So, instead of running my business and selling and managing my employees and doing whatever I need to do, customer service, customer care, I'm now taking half my day trying to figure out, well, how am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? Now you don't have to take that away because it's all done for you. The protocols are set for you. The actions are set for you. The software is set for you. I mean, literally the franchisors spend thousands of dollars creating things like routing software, like this No H2O. I mean, that app, the Uber app, I mean, that's half of their business, right? I mean, the convenience to say, hey, I want to Uber. Oh, how much is it going to cost me? What size do I want? I mean, that's the half of their business. The other half of the drivers, which, again, there's hundreds of those, and all you got to do is just drive. I don't need to worry about an app. I don't need to worry about how am I going to get paid. I don't have to worry about what route do I take. I don't have to worry about, what I mean, getting in the queue or anything like that. I mean, that's the beauty of this business.
So now the question that I know is on the minds of some of the people watching and listening is okay, you brought up 3 great brand new ideas for franchising and everything. How's that going to affect my bank account? I mean, are we talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars invested in order to get into one of these franchises?
Well,
Are we?
The old saying is a true saying. It takes money to make money.
That's right.
So you do need to have capital. Now, the great thing about it is, for example, this car wash business, the total cost of operation for one territory is about $120,000. Now, it sounds like a lot, but it's not, because it's broken into categories. For example, 50,000 roughly is the franchise fee. You got 50,000 in working capital, and you got about 20,000 in materials. Right now, working capital is money you pay yourself, you pay your employees. So it's not money. So the real money to go into the franchisor is only 50,000 for the franchise fee.
Okay.
The rest costs to run the business. And I don't care what business you open, you got to have money to run a business. right? So really, it's only $50,000 to get into the business, because if you want to run a business, you got to have working capital, you got to pay employees, you got to pay, for product, right? So if you take that off the table, it's, we're only talking $50,000 now only, right? I mean, again, it's not for someone out of college, right? Unless daddy is going to fund it,
Right.
right? Well, let's say, you've been working for 10 years, right? So what do you get out of college at 25? You were working, you're 35 years old. I mean, you should have some 401k saved. You should have a little bit of money saved. You might even have a home with home equity. So there's different ways to fund it. There's SBA loans. There's 401k rollover programs that actually allow you to diversify your 401k, investing in yourself versus just the stock market. Now, it still qualifies as a legitimate 401k. I mean, so it's non-tax. There's no penalty to take it out. It's money you've saved to take care of your future. Now I have a program that allows you to invest in your business, new business, franchise business, as a 401k investment. Genius, right? It's an incredible way to diversify your 401k, and it's tax-free money that you've already saved and you put towards yourself. And let me tell you, the stock market will make you maybe at best 8%, right, year over year. Now, great, it's passive. You don't have to worry about it. It just kind of does its thing, has its ups and downs. And in fact, you shouldn't look at it because it'll cause you anxiety. When you have market crashes and booms, I mean, gosh, it'll drive you nuts, right? Your blood pressure will go up with it. So, but on average, over a 10-year period, maybe you'll make 8% on your money, right? In a franchise, you have the ability to make much more than that.
Well, and also you had mentioned, and I never thought about it until you did mention it, is you don't have to quit your job and say, I've been making a nice living and so I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to buy a franchise. That there are franchises out there that will allow you to keep your 40-hour a week job, and maybe you invest 6-7 hours on the weekend lining up appointments for your got to go out on this no H2O to wash some cars, or as we mentioned earlier about doing some pest control or so. And it can be very, very much a part-time investment time-wise that can be a full-time investment money-wise. Coming, income wise.
I'm living that right now. So my wife has a full-time job. I have a full-time job, and my cycling studio is a semi-absentee business. That's what we call it. It's called semi-absentee. I never open the door. I never close the door, and I never teach a class. In fact, I went this morning to take a class at 7:15. I was done at 8 o'clock, and I met with my front desk staff. I checked to talk to the instructor. So while getting my exercise, I was able to check into the studio. And then boom, I was done. That's my work, right? So this weekend I did payroll. That was 2 hours of work. I mean, literally, it is a 20-hour a month job, and that makes a 6-figure income. It's a third income for us. So it's a fantastic investment opportunity to get multiple revenue streams. No H2O is the same thing. Basically, if you can have 10 or 12 people washing cars while you're sitting here managing payroll and supplying, cleaning supplies, those are the two key things that you got to do. That's it. Right. Again, you have a mobile app that will track your employees, make sure that they're where they're supposed to be, doing what they're supposed to do. You'll have an app that tells you exactly every time a transaction is completed. My business at the studio is 99% credit card. It's all automated transactions because they're monthly membership dues. It just runs to credit cards. I don't have to worry about someone collecting cash or pocketing cash or anything like that. I mean, my oversight, it really is a home-based, I'm managing it from home.
Well, and it's interesting because there are a lot of categories and within each category of franchising, there are some that can be costly to get involved in, and some not so costly. I mean, you're in the fitness category. There are the food categories. There's health services. I know there's beauty. Look, Mary Kay made a fortune off of having independent franchisees go out and have these at-home parties selling Mary Kay products. So again, it's not a brick and mortar investment. that can have great financial returns. And I know another area that seems to be growing by leaps and bounds is in the educational category,
Yes.
tutoring services, tutoring
Yes.
franchises.
Yes. I have those too. So I have several. I have a brick and mortar, which is going to be much more expensive, but that's a preschool, right? So early childhood development, if you're interested in that, great preschool concept. I have in-home tutoring. I have virtual tutoring. I have tutoring centers. Absolutely. I have a variety of education-based solutions. Again, if you have a passion for education, the home-based tutoring is a phenomenal business because, again, due to COVID, it expanded to virtual tutoring. So now, I can get an MIT student, right, tutoring my elementary school, middle schooler in algebra.
Well,
I
yep.
can get a young lady in Spain teaching my kids Spanish. I mean, think about the beauty of that. It's just, and you don't have to leave your home. You don't have to go to a center. You don't have to drive your kid to a center at Sylvan Center and pick them up and bring them home again. You can do it all in your home or virtually. That's a beautiful business model.
Well, I think it goes without saying for those that are listening and watching, and I'll reach out to Irving. I know that you have been very, very gracious in allowing people to have a one-on-one consultation with you. All they need to do is get in touch with you. They can go to your website, bigconsideration.com, get all the information that they need, and get a one-on-one with Irving and just say, you know what I heard on something to talk about is kind of interesting to me, and I might be ready to make the move into franchising. It seems to me like right now, having come off of this pandemic and everything, right now is really a good time to consider going into franchising because there's so many upstart franchises coming on the radar, and again, I'm fascinated by this waterless, this no H2O. That to me is a pretty cool idea because I know that I remember when I lived in South Florida, they used to have vans that would come around that had a big tank of water that would do mobile car wash and all. But this is waterless, so that makes it a lot easier for somebody that you want to hire to go out and do it, to simply put all the tools that they need in the trunk of the car and go out, take care of business.
Yeah. In fact, I'm looking at my truck out my window, my office, and it's filthy as ever. And I just been too lazy to drive to the car wash. I would love to be able to jump on an app and say, "Hey, can you come and wash my car?" That'd be fantastic.
Right.
So,
It's instead of 5 o'clock on the way home saying the car is filthy and now I got to go sit in line for another 45 minutes waiting to go through a car wash.
yeah.
And I don't have time to have it detailed out either.
Exactly. And you always get out with the water drips on it and you're like, oh my gosh, so, unless you're not a stickler like me, it drives me nuts, but
So you're always on the radar looking for all of these new concepts and all that are coming. Like you said, the no H2O concept didn't even come from America. It came from Ireland.
Absolutely. So the company I work for is called Franchise, and Franchise was started 20 years ago. And their main mission really is to find and aggregate all the franchise concepts that exist, and I bring them to the attention of my clients. So we're always bringing new concepts. We're always innovating. We're always trying to be on the cutting edge. And again, if you want something like a Meineke muffler, I mean, that's now evolved from mufflers to full service car maintenance. That's been around for 60 years. There's 600 franchises. I can bring that to you if you want that, right? So we have everything from like 60-year-old businesses to ones that are brand spanking new.
Yeah. I mean, I keep thinking back to the quickie oil change places that popped up, a few decades back.
I have a couple of oil change concepts actually.
Yeah. And it's probably a little more costly to get involved in one of those today, but look into some of the new things. If people want to get in touch with you, is the bigconsideration.com the best place to go?
Yeah, and you know what? I'll even put out my cell phone number here, 214-908-9791. It's on your website. Give me a call. My consultations are free, by the way. So, there's no risk in learning about your options or even asking some questions just to be a little more educated. That's what I consider myself, is someone who's here to educate. So you
And also, I want to reiterate that you also work with veterans,
absolutely.
and work every angle you possibly can to help them with the funding that they might want to need to go into a franchise situation.
Yeah, I'm on a board of directors and the director of entrepreneurship for the DFW Veterans Chamber of Commerce. If you're a veteran, definitely join us. Yeah, no, almost the majority of the franchises I have in my portfolio offer veteran discounts. You can save up to $10,000 on your franchise fee, which is huge. Yeah, and not only that is there's studies out that show that veterans outperform your average franchisee by 25% because of their military training.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, military is a perfect training ground for franchise ownership because, if you've been in it for a long time, your assignments changed every 3 years. And you know what they'll say? They say, Stuart, boom, your new assignment's up. Hey, next month you're gonna be moving to Florida. By the way, you're now gonna be, this uh, person, and here's a manual, an SOP. Boom, learn it and do it.
And a veteran mindset is also that's very organized and can take that canvas that we talked about earlier and make it into a reality.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks a lot for joining me on the show. This was great, just talking about franchising, and
Absolutely.
3 great new franchises on the horizon right now. If any of them are at even remotely interested, or you have even an idea and say, I always wanted to do this, Irving probably has a franchise that's out there that's available to you, and you can find out what it would take to become a franchisee.
Yep, I can almost guarantee it. If there's an area of passion that you want to explore, I bet you I have a business for you. Stuart, I love your show. I love talking to you. It's always a lot of fun. Definitely. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, and thank you very, very much for allowing us to help people connect with you also, and for being a sponsor of our programs. I think the world of you and what you can do to help people better their lives. It's their choice, but the first step is to find out what all of the ins and outs are, and get that information.
Absolutely. It's always best to know your options.
Yep. So reach out to Irving, and I thank you very, very much again, and I'll see you at the DFW Veterans Chamber of Commerce on Friday.
Sounds good.
All right. Take care. Make it a great day, Irving.
You too.
Well, and so thank you very, very much to Irving Chung, who is a sponsor of something to talk about, and also someone you should know. And just for sharing some open, very frank information about what it might be if you wanted to get involved in a franchise. The beauty is you don't have to make a decision up front and say, yeah, I want to be a franchisee, and I'm ready. Talk to Irving first, find out what your options are, and then find out if it's right, because he may have another franchise idea that you haven't thought of that he knows about. And that's the best way to do it. The other thing I want to remind you to do is be right here again next week at 11 o'clock for another edition of Something to Talk About. We'll find a great topic to talk about. We'll share it with you. And in the meantime, go out and make it a good week, and be good to yourself and enjoy life. Okay. Talk to you later.